to hire me, but I'm not really seeing the traction that, I want to. Now, this may sound familiar to you, particularly if you watch this as someone in the consulting world or professional services. This may sound familiar, right? I'm doing some business, but not really the business that I want to do. I'd like to have more opportunities. So I go down my mental checklist really in this conversation. So we start talking a little deeper and, well, what are you doing to, market the business? What are you doing to get yourself in front of people who are not people who know you? Because at the end of the day, this is all about strangers, right? The business that you will get likely tomorrow or next week or next month will most likely come from people who have never heard of you, or have never done business with you, or are not familiar with your products or services. So it is the opposite of when we were kids. Don't talk to strangers. It's now completely, we need strangers. We need strangers more than ever to create that exponential growth. And we were having that conversation. I wanted to understand also how that expertise was actually translating. So you've got all these acronyms, you've done all this great work. What's the website look like? What is your collateral? What's the sales collateral? What are you sending out to people that you are meeting? What's your pitch here? Here we are at this event, and what's the pitch? What is the offering? What problem ultimately are you solving? And where can I find information on it, right? Because if I had not been talking to him, if we had not been at the networking event having a conversation, I probably wouldn't know anything, about that person. But now when I go on my exploration, when I start to Google these things, I start to look up information about these areas, this kind of niche area that he specialized in based on all of this education and information that he had. I was not finding compelling information that creates a scenario where he becomes the obvious choice to solve that problem. Because even with some of the niche work that he was doing, he wasn't the only person doing it. It's not it's not like the what were we talking about the other day? The Wurlitzer, and there's only like 4 people in the world or something, or 11 people. How many is it? It's like 40 Wurlitzers or 40 people? Okay. And there's only a key people, right? So in our hometown of Richmond, there's like one guy who's the only one allowed to touch the one of 40 Wurlitzers in the world. So that's a specialty gig, right? It's not, hey, Joe, if you don't want to come, if you don't want to work anymore, we'll replace you, right? That's a specialty. So even in his particular niche area of consulting, he still had competitors. So there's still the opportunity for someone or a company or organization or a decision maker to go in a different direction and do business with someone else. So that's why that information has to be compelling. So what he was suffering from is what I call the worst kind of expertise. Because the worst kind of expertise is expertise that no one knows about, right? And I want you to think about that for a second. What's worse than that? What is worse than having all the credentials, having all the experience, having all the battle scars, having had great clients, having had these scenarios, having amassed this great body of work to genuinely be able to make an impact? I'm not talking about someone who's just chasing the latest fad or, that's in that space, or just kind of saying whatever they have to say in the marketplace to try to, earn a buck. I'm talking about genuinely qualified individuals who are trying to make a difference and have intentions to make a difference in the lives of their customers or in the companies that they are working for, that their specialty provides them information to have that opportunity, to have all that knowledge, to have all this value, to have all these gifts in a lot of instances, and not get the traction you need. That's why I'm doing the Amplify Your Expertise event. That's why we're doing this live stream, this live webinar. We're doing it because we have a unique opportunity right now in this marketplace. There's never been more opportunity to get your voice heard, to be seen. And it's amazing. I was meeting with my team yesterday, doing some Facebook stuff and some advertising that we're doing. And I just stopped for a minute and I just wondered, man, I think back to how you couldn't get that message out in an hour, putting together an ad with some creative, picking your market, pushing it out to the market, and having it immediately, basically, once it's approved, having it out in the marketplace and having someone be able to see your ad in 20 minutes and potentially buy your product or service or take the next step. So it's amazing. I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years, been working for myself primarily for over 20 years. And 20 years ago, I remember stuffing envelopes to promote a workshop. There was constant contact. The email marketing system had just come on the scene. It was a novelty item to send emails out. And even then, you had to build the list. So the idea that I can go right to the market right now is so impactful. So if you are somebody who is the face of your business, if you are somebody who needs people to invest in you for the outcome that you provide, don't do yourself a disservice and be in obscurity. Don't do yourself a disservice and not share that information and not show up, because we got to get beyond the in-person networking event, right? We've got to go out there. So what am I talking about? Well, that's the definition of the word amplification, right? The idea is amplifying, taking your expertise, taking the specialty, taking the gifts and the things that you already have and putting that out on display. See, at that networking event, if he was lucky, that gentleman might have talked to a half dozen people. There were about 60, 65 people, I would probably say, if I eyeballed it. There were probably 60, 65 people there. So maybe if he was lucky, he had substantive conversation with a half dozen people. But the reality of it is, he needs to have, in his instance, and we all do, we need to have advocacy of our brand and who we are, evangelist material about our expertise, about our thought leadership, about how we can solve these problems. We have to have that across multiple areas. We call that multi-content distribution. That's one of the things that we'll be talking about in the webinar. If you're not registered, amplifywebinar.com, September 6th, 1 p.m. Eastern. We do not have a replay scheduled. So if you're registering, plan to show up live. We want you live. We want to have a Q&A. We've got some great content that we're going to go into. We've curated this content over some time. We've done some live presentations with this. So you're really getting the best of the content that we're making available across the country. The country for sure. I don't know if we've got some people from overseas. I haven't looked at it, but so that's the deal. Amplifywebinar.com. Don't be the worst. Don't have the worst kind of expertise. The expertise that nobody knows about. Nobody knows that you can help them. I remember many, many years ago, before I got smart, losing a piece of business, or I shouldn't say lose it because it wasn't mine to even have to begin with, but finding out someone had done business with somebody else in an area that I actually did, where I could have helped them. And the answer was, Cory, we didn't know that you even did this. Shame on me. Shame on me for not making that known. Shame on me for not sharing that information. Shame on me for not having a multi-content distribution strategy and amplifying that expertise. So amplifywebinar.com. Well, I just wanted to pop in here. Thank you for your time. Didn't want to take too much of your time this morning, but wanted to provide some value, wanted to get you thinking, wanted to get you in that mode to take action. So many ideas just die on the vine because we don't take action. You might be watching this in a corporate role right now, looking to take that leap into your own coaching business, consulting business, or professional services. You're working for a big firm right now as an attorney. You're working for a big firm as a financial advisor, accountant, CPA, and you're looking to get out there and hang up your own shingle. Well, how you amplify that expertise, how you take that body of work and translate that is going to be very, very important. We're going to be sharing that with you. And if you come by this stream and, hey, Cory, everybody knows me. I don't need to amplify anything. Or this isn't, I don't want anybody to know what I do. I talked to a guy the other day. It's a real estate developer, pretty sizable, owns a lot of real estate. And I said, hey, we need to get you involved with some media. And he's, oh no, I like to stay under the radar. So I'm not here to convince or to change hearts and minds on that area. So if you want to stay under the radar, or if amplifying your expertise is not of value to you, but you see this and you have friends or colleagues, you have people in your circle, you have family members that should be on this webinar, I'm inviting you to share this live with them, share the link to amplifywebinar.com with them so they can get involved, so they can have the opportunity to get this free content while we have it available and while we have it up. All right. Have a great Thursday. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. I know the holiday is coming up, but let's keep our foot on the gas for Thursday and Friday. And Friday, I know it's probably going to be a ghost town in our office building on Friday, but let's keep our foot on the gas and keep moving, keep riding to the top. Amplifywebinar.com. The countdown is on. I'll see you soon.